Welcome back to Las Vegas as we take a look like a bullet, a silver bullet. Sterling Marlin shooting to the front after starting 24th, but trouble as he is tapped by the 24 car into pit road. Tony Stewart, the 25 car, I should say. Tony Stewart almost missing pit road, and then later taking the lead in the pit stops. Marlin and Stewart having some trouble there, and Ryan Newman beating them out of the pits to lead for a while in this race, but Tony Stewart taking the lead back, and the first ever lap turned on this speedway back in June of 1996. Tony Stewart did that, a GM car leading the way. The standings, the Winston Cup Points Race Championship, 2 of 36 races entering the race today. Sterling Marlin leading Ward Burton, Daytona 500 winner. And you see Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton rounding it out. The Busch Series, which completed its third race yesterday here. Jack Sprague leading the former champ Randy LaJoie and Jason Keller, who won the previous week, currently running third. And the Craftsman Truck Series presented by Sears after just one of 23 races, and Robert Presley out of Asheville, North Carolina, leading the way there. All right, Jeff Hammond from the Hollywood Hotel. We're in our fourth caution. We've had 12 lead changes here, 8 different leaders. Let's size up what we've seen so far and what you think we'll see the rest of the way.
There's a bunch of those drivers out there right now that I think are very lucky. They're lucky they're here in Vegas because, you know, you look at Sterling Marlin, he was speeding down pit road. NASCAR didn't get the call made. He got a break there. Tony Stewart almost misses pit road early on, doesn't go a lap down. Caution comes out, saves him a lap. A lot of things right now have been kind of like circumstantial and very lucky for a lot of drivers. But I'm telling you, some hot action right now between these guys at the front.
Should be an exciting finish. A record crowd here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Over 150,000, the most ever to witness a sporting event in the state of Nevada. Let's go back upstairs. They're getting ready to go green. That's Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Jordan.
Tony Stewart, who has a million extra reasons to want to win this race, will lead Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Sterling Marlin, and Joe Nemechek up in the top 5.
Boy, that's a great run for Joe Nemechek in that 26 car.
Unsponsored. Travis Carter team, victim of the Kmart bankruptcy, looking for a sponsor to complete the season. And Nemechek, their black car, devoid of any logos on the quarter panels. He's in the top 5.
That's Strickland in that 23 car down at the bottom of the racetrack trying to get his lap back. What do you think, Mike Joy? Darrell Waltrip? One more time. Let's crank it up.
I love it. Folks, what makes a race car fast, that we saw it in qualifying with Todd Godine's car, you get that nose, the nose of that car, the bottom of the nose sucked right down against the racetrack. Just kind of seal the car and the track together. Notice Tony Stewart's car now when he goes down here in the corner. First of all, you got to get those fenders pulled way out there like he does. But you get that nose of that car right down. See, look at it, right down against the racetrack. That's why he's not pushing off the corner. He's got it sealed off. Now, you're going to get a little bit of lift, and that is minimal amount of lift behind another car as you go down the straightaway. But when that thing drops into the corner, it's just like a vacuum cleaner. It's sucked. Look at it. Looks sucked right down on the racetrack. Gets a little, picks a left front up just a little bit, but that is really ideal conditions for a race car to go fast. Do you agree, Jeff?
Yeah, I sure do, Darrell. And one of the interesting things earlier this week, I was talking to Dr. Who, and that's Ronnie Crooks, the shock specialist on this car, and he told me this past weekend when they came to Las Vegas, they brought 25 sets of shocks to be ready to tune on that race car. That's 100 shocks to have ready so they could get that car tuned in so they can run the bottom. We can see right here that Sterling Marlin in 97 going at it, but it amazes me how well that car has stayed on the bottom of the racetrack all day long and keeping that car planted like they have, and a lot of that goes to that shock package they've got.
Yeah, Jeff, you know, getting those front springs soft, letting that car travel down there, and then letting the shock absorbers, while it's down there in the middle of the corner, hold that car down. This racetrack is very smooth. It does just exactly what Darrell's talking about, keeps that front end sealed, keeps that car turning, and helps those straightaway speeds.
Ricky Craven has made an unscheduled pit stop under green. He'll go a lap down as Tony Stewart runs 1.9 seconds ahead of Ryan Newman. What was wrong with Craven, Dick?
Flat left rear tire, and I mean really flat, Mike.
Tough break for Craven, who came in here 6th in the standings.
A lot of cars having a little bad luck. We had just talked about Buckshot Jones before that caution came out. Had worked his way into the top 10, came to pit road, took 4 tires, had a loose lug nut on the left front, had to come back in and restarted this green flag run in 25th position. You can't have the mistakes on pit road, whether it's the driver coming in or whether it's the pit crew.
Hutch Strickland is he is driving the wheels off of that old Dodge here to stay in front of Tony Stewart and doing a pretty darn good job of it right now.
Should the caution
He's a lap down, but he's maintaining the lead.
Should the caution come out, Stewart will have to wait for the pace car, and that's why Strickland would get the free pass all the way around and be back on the lead lap. And
you can see the distance that they put between the other cars, so he's not holding Tony up by any means.
You know, another one of the cars that elected to come in on the last pit stop and change 4 tires, since it didn't seem to necessarily work the stop before, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8th car, and he's worked his way up to the 14th position. Steve Burton, what's going on with Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Well, Larry, that's an understatement. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, thank goodness we only ran 15 laps on right side tires, that 2-tire change. He said, I could not make the car turn. Tony Eury said, yeah, well, we were in Vegas. We took a gamble. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. likes the way the car is driving now. Dick Berger.
Update you on Jimmy Johnson's front carrier. Remember last week at Rockingham, he was struck by a car, injured, taken out in the back of an ambulance, broke both bones in his lower leg, also broke his ankle. Pins, plates, screws. Came home from the hospital on Wednesday. He's going to be out for quite a long while. Nice gesture. Mark Martin, who struck him on pit road, called to say he didn't mean to do it. Sorry, hopes he feels very well soon. Jay Lupo carrying front tires for Jimmy Johnson today.
Thanks, Dick. Ward Burton just made a move you can only make on fresh tires, right down on the bottom of the racetrack, 3 wide, and scooted on back and cleared that whole pack except for Bill Elliott.
Well, certainly, Hutch Strickland is his teammate, and Hutch holding off Tony right now, and Ward's got fresh tires, and he looks like he's on the move as well.
And he's back on the lead lap. DW is up to 19th.
Boy, that does so much for a driver. When he loses a lap, got a car high down in 2. It's 14 car, but he's okay. When you lose a lap and you get it back, boy, it's such a breath of fresh air. You feel like Superman. I can get them now.
And we've talked about the petty cars and what a good day they're having. Kevin Harvick is not having a good day, and neither are his Richard Childress Racing teammates.
Well, Kevin Harvick, you're right. That none of these race cars has run that well on the racetrack. Kevin Harvick and his teammate Jeff Green in the 30 car fell victim to making those green flag stops early. Robbie Gordon in the 31 looked like he was going to have a good run, but we've been noticing his left front fender has a big hole in it coming off the corner, coming toward us, toward the booth, and that just kills the front downforce. That car will not turn.
Yeah, he's got Tony Stewart's car sucked down to the track. Robbie Gordon's car is being lifted up off the track.
Ryan Newman, Sterling Marlin, 2nd place.
Newman is driving a great race, guys. He and Kurt Busch both. I mean, they're just doing a great job. They don't have a lot of experience, but they got a lot of talent.
You know, I want to follow up on something Jeff Hammond mentioned earlier about the rule change that the Dodges have from a year ago, and what that rule change was. Yeah, one thing, they have another year under their belt with this Dodge, which makes a big difference. But what NASCAR allowed the Dodge teams to do right about August of last year is pull the front valence, the bottom part of the front end, out an additional 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and that just helps that front downforce, makes that car really turn the further you can pull that part out.
Yeah, right down in here, the very bottom of that nose has been kicked out 1.5 inches, I think it was, or was it 2.5?
It went from a 1/2 inch to actually 1.5 inches.
1.5 inches, and that makes a huge difference in how much downforce. It's like putting a plow on the front of the car.
Look at this battle right there.
Now, you got to take care of that. You know, you don't want to get to bumping into people and knock that thing back in. You're going to lose your downforce. You're going to lose the front. Your front end won't stick if you beat that thing back up under there.
The front fenders are very delicate pieces on these race cars.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys,
a big difference.
A lot of these guys don't seem to realize that.
Ward Burton marched his way through that pack right there at 19th place. Tony Stewart with a 3-second lead now on Sterling Marlin.